This video brought to you by the warmth of a Pioneer mini split. I thank Pioneer for getting me here because I just set it to 70 degrees because it was set to 68. You know what? It's a little chilly in here, showing 66 at all the thermometers. Turn this down a little bit. I'm not going to stop it. It's Mark Ribier, by the way. He did a thing and the violin guy comes out and it's amazing. This is an Orchard Audio Starkrimson Duo. It says duo/trio because if you're a badass, you would order this amplifier with all 3 terminals set to go. This one currently only has 2 amplification modules in it, which you will see here. We have to go back to this cover for a second to talk about a quirk. But RP600M Mark IIs, this amplifier. So, Orchard Audio, this guy here. Leo, 2nd channel, I went to his thing. In fact, if this video comes out before January 20th, on January 20th, in beautiful Rockaway, New Jersey, I'll be at the showroom for Orchard Audio. I forgot the time. There's a link in the description. And you can come hang out and bring a set of speakers that you know, and we'll hook them up to one of his amplifiers, and you could listen to it. In the meantime, my whole thing changed. My whole basement thing changed. I had originally set up this murderous stack of amplifiers from the Soxeritis devices, Achilles, the big 8-watt per channel tubes, to these vintage Marantz monoblocks that put out like 300 watts a channel, to my father's Pioneer D1S, and I had a couple other, these guys. Oh God, I just smashed a thing. These guys, the Sabage A10A Class D amplifiers. I had all these amplifiers. And whenever I got speakers to review, I had, am I going to use this? Am I going to use that? Am I going to use this? I'm going to use that. What do I want to hear? What amplifier do I want to test and assess a speaker on? And all that shit stopped. It stopped being even a choice when these showed up. The original, little, the baby, now waifu'd Orchard Audio Starkrimson Mono. 150 watts a channel. Adorable. And they showed up, and I used them, and I never wanted to listen to another amplifier for testing speakers ever again. And then I sent them back to him and had him put those things are like 1,500 stock, a set of them, with the standard power supplies and the standard gain settings. Sent it back to him. I got the higher gain option so I could run lower sources, like tube things. By the way, we're also kind of half testing the new Apos Ray S6S N7 tube here in the Black Ice Aries cover off on its side. This is the DAC, tube DAC. Tube preamp with all the settings and things. We'll explain why I picked this in a second to preamp this. But yeah, so oof, sounds pretty good. Put that back there for a second. Keep that in mind. So once those amplifiers arrived, this is more like a story time review with Zeos, because those amplifiers, with the gains turned up, and then recently I had an issue where I grounded one out, and I had been abusing them apparently. He said these have been abused. Because what I didn't know about this particular type of amplification system, the GAN, the GAN, is that they're a little bit picky. They're kind of like tube amps. You can't turn them on without a resistive load across the terminals. And I was using those like bench amps. I was just unplugging speakers, plugging in speakers, unplugging speakers, plugging in speakers, and I never shut the amplifiers off, which made one of them explode. But he took them back, looked it over, said, this is what's wrong. I fixed it. I corrected it. Oh, by the way, I also upgraded to the GAN 300-watt power supplies, so there'll be even more, I don't want to say the word balls, because balls are all hairy and sweaty. Even more gusto. Notice the wallpaper, by the way. So those little monoblocks, I love them to death. Like literally, I will test speakers on nothing else. In fact, they're not powering these. Obviously, this is powering these. Those $7,000 Mon acoustics have the privilege of being run off these Starkrimson monos. Off of Apo sent me the topping D90 Mark III. So there's that. It's it. There's no other fucking amplifier I would test a speaker with besides those. Except maybe this. You see what this is? The Duo. If it was the Trio, you'd have a third power supply and a third amplification module. And that is the amplification module. That's it. This is all power supply. This little son of a bitch here that looks like you could fold it and put in your wallet can produce 150 watts per channel. And it's Class D. So, right? Everyone's gonna be like, oh, Zeo's Class D. Don't power headphones with it. Fine. But here's the usual problem with Class D amplification is that, 150 watts. That means when it gets to 100, it's pretty clean. But once you get it to that rated number, it's 10% distortion. This is 0.001. This is its rated super low distortion at rated power. That is those monoblocks there are the only amplifier I've ever put RB42s on and figured, this is it. This is best as good. Because they, and I could tell you because I was feeding them with a balance amp, nearly to maximum, exactly 150 watts per channel. Perfect. In fact, these amplifiers, because they're GAN, which is gallium nitride or whatever that weird, you can buy, I know if anybody who charges their phone on the go, you can buy a GAN power brick that plugs in and gives you like 100 watts per channel or 100 watts to charge your phone. It's a little tiny thing. That's the system that this is using. This very basic little board here with the 2 Texas Instrument chips on it. Those monoblocks, this is just them. That's the deal. This box is just those monoblocks stripped out of the individual boxes, given slightly smaller, weaker power supplies, and put into a very convenient box. You see, the problem with the monoblocks, as I've used them all over the house, is that it's a fucking mess. If you're doing a permanent installation, like right now, it looks clean and neat, but only because you don't see the power bricks are sitting up here, plugged into a 2-way splitter tap onto a CASA plug to turn it on and off when I yell it to turn on the monoblocks. So, and then you got wires coming in. The power brick wires are 6 plugs. Then you have the signal thing, and you have 2 wires. So monoblocks are great. They're not so great when you're trying to keep things neat and clean, unless you are permanently setting it up, which I think most of you are. This, however, this faceless unit, because look at it, it has literally, it didn't break anything. It literally has nothing on the front of it. Is 2 of those in a box, single power plug, power supplies are built in, don't have to worry about it. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. What if you got the Trio, Zeos? Well, here's the thing. My home theater, well, this is one of my home theaters. Klipsch THX. I tried them on the Pioneer Elite, powering itself. It was fine. Then I put it on the Emotiva A7, which is like a $700 7-channel power amplifier. Huge improvement of these 3 channels, because these are the important channels. Someone's speaking, someone's walking across the stage. It balances between those 3 $1,000 speakers. Moved it to the Fosse ZA3s. An even bigger boost in clarity and just power at 120 watts per channel. The Fosse amplifiers are honestly huge. The Pulitzer Prize for good audio at affordable prices. But this is the next step above that. That's it. I know, because I've tested and I've gone from 2. And when you get to this and you get to a 3-channel version of this, it adds $1,000 to the price. By the way, just 1 gemstone in the title. It's not a low 1 gemstone. It's kind of a high 1 gemstone, because those cost $1,500. And if you do the upgrades and things, it can cost up to $2,000 some odd dollars. This, with the 2 channels on the standard gain settings, is about $1,750. $1,750. So it's already in the price range of sort of like an enthusiast amplifier. I want to point out, by the way, this isn't made in China. This is made in, well, parts of it in Canada and Rockaway, New Jersey, and the power supplies have parts from China because you literally can't build power supplies in America. Where are the American power supplies, everybody? I gotta make sure I'm playing Mark Ribier so I can constantly back it up because I love...
Sugar about right there. It's a really lovely amount of sugar right there.
So you got an American-made, essentially hobbyist. The guy who makes this, Leo, if you didn't watch my review, when I went to his shop, like I'm going to be going again, January 20th, 2024. His real job is not this. This is still his side job. Just like the Shelley Labs started out as a side job. Just like Ryan Dietz at Modhouse started that out as a side job. His real job is putting together electronics for satellites. So when you're like, well, Zeos, there's not a lot in there. It seems it's very expensive. Just fucking imagine when your job is putting together electronics for satellites, how much more desirable less is, and lightweight is, and efficiency is. Made all sense. Made all the sense in the world. Now, little things, little quirks that are going on. I'm going to talk about the first quirk, which I thought was hilarious. Here's the cover, which I don't recommend you take off because it has the little things that slide, and I'm going to have to get them right. Nothing on the front. No light. No light. No indicator that it's even on, which is a problem when you have to make sure it's off before you disconnect anything. But he solved that, and I'm going to say it in quotes, solved it by putting a beautiful logo here, by putting this fancy font Starkrimson Duo Trio here, and then by putting the most fucking giant on-off switch labels right here. So the switch that's below the power supply, by the way, this is a $50 power plug. Don't get too excited. I'm not an audiophile of that level. These are actually from Amazon at like 60 bucks. I love these speaker cables. I'll see if I can link them. They got sold out a while back, but these are the Italian ones. But, so you can reach back here and go off. Click, click. You hear a slight pop when they disable, because this has no filters. And it doesn't need a muting circuit because it's only going to make a little, that's it. It's done. You turn it on as the individual amplifiers turn on. That is hilarious. I asked him if that's like just for like the test unit, and he's like, no. I have to make sure people know what's on and off. And then it makes me wish that there was some sort of power indicator, not a blue LED, never a blue LED. But the fact that this could fit in your rack and have literally nothing in the front of it, it's like a ghost amp. So let's take this off, and we're going to talk about how well it powers things. Now, these are quite efficient speakers. They're Klipsch RP600Ms. They're not exactly known for needing a ton of power. And I'm running this as my pre, and it's RCA only output, so I'm using adapters to go RCA to XLR. If you have this same sort of setup, he sells a $300 box. I think it's a $300 box. That is a powered unit that takes RCA and up converts it to the full voltage output of XLR. And that wouldn't just work for his amplifiers, that'll work for any amplifier. So I'm like, you need to send me one of those fucking immediately, because there's so many times I have a source that's RCA and I wish it had XLR voltage, because this is sending out less voltage than this whole setup is expecting. And I messaged him and I'm like, so yeah, I'm doing this, is that okay? And he said, yeah, it's fine, but you're gonna get about 1/4 of the potential power output of this using the RCA adapters that aren't powered. And then I looked at the Aries and realized I was on low gain. And I put that to medium gain. And then I take the risk of getting copyright fucking struck. And we put it in shuffle and do, let me see. Oh, target acquisition. This is actually no copyright on this. Huh. Seems to be getting pretty loud. Oh, the drivers are gonna jump out of the fucking boxes. Oh. Yeah, that's absolutely fucking insanely loud. And not just loud. Here's the thing. I was using this amplifier before I put it on the desk here and set these up. I was using it to power these little guys right here. The little tiny Monacoustics. The Supermon Minis. And I was using the Sauvage here, which I really love the Sauvage A10A. They're like $150 little monoblocks. You can monoblock them or stereo. They have Bluetooth. Great little amplifiers. Absolutely worth $350 if you want to get a set of those and just go ham. As soon as I put this in place of those and just sat it on the floor and there's all the wires going to it, immediate fucking change in soundstage and clarity and everything, because it's the fucking amplifiers that I love and I'm used to. Just opened it right up like she could with those swords. Just immediately. This is a clean amplifier, almost clinical, but that's what I need personally when I'm doing testing. I want to know what that speaker or 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 that speaker, but not those two because they're self-powered, or that speaker can do when you're giving it the cleanest source possible, which is what this is. The cleanest amplification possible. My argument for taking out the Aries for this review is that it's going to add a little bit of stank. Not stank. Stank's a bad word. Let's just put it this way. I've got treble controls. If you haven't seen my review of the Aries, please. It's for the people who have heard everything and just want to have fun. I know how good this is, how clean this is. I know how those sound. So I know I'm getting that speaker perfect. I know because of this amplifier, I'm getting it perfect amplification. Straight up perfect. So I figured the only way I'm going to actually have a little more fun is by going with a tube source or a Class A source or some source that's doing something funky, because this is going to take anything you put through it and filter zero out of that. Which is why when I, when I put the sub bass up 2 notches, do that and this, and then this is kind of a re-review of the Aries because I don't think I used it in a speaker setup when I did the review of it, and I certainly hadn't swapped tubes at that point. And this APOS tube is, you buy this, you spend $1,700. If you're one of those crazy motherfuckers that has a, your desk is your setup, you're buying this. Because I can tell you, it'll be the best amplification you could fit in this package. If you're buying this, if you're an aspiring audiophile that's building your own speakers, or you've got some really nice speakers that you would just, I always wondered, I'd use like these cheap amps, I've got a vintage Class AB, but I want to know what like the best amplification would be. Here it is. Under $2,000. You can bump it up with options, not just adding the module. You can get the same sensitivity tweaking, which gives you a little more headroom. I don't know how many decibels, but it's actually, no, I do know how many decibels. Hold on a second. Steam chat is going the wrong name. Switch that. We have got right here. So currently 1749.95. You can go from 16.8 to 21.5 dBs gain. So that's over 5. 5 would be 21.8. So almost 5. $300 more. So you can get a stereo, you add $300 more, all of a sudden it's a $2,000 amplifier. Then it's 2 gemstones. You want to add the third amplifier at low gain? $27.49. You want to add the third amplifier and have the gain adjusted at all 3 of them? You're looking at $3,200. The thing is, though, at $3,200 for a 3-channel amplifier for a home theater, you've got to be a fucking madman. Which I kind of am. These speakers I don't think need the extra gain, so I wouldn't bother. The fact that I'm running these on low voltage sources, you would have to have the most bizarrely hard to drive speakers on the planet Earth to go for the higher gain option. But it's out there. Oh my fucking science. This is the Birdman OST, so definitely copyrights and things. Sub bass I'm gonna drop down to 2. It's a depth, a clarity, an imaging thing. Everything gets better. It's one of those amplifiers, same as the original monoblocks. It's one of those amplifiers that you put it on in a signal chain and everything gets better. Now, I could run this through a cheaper amplifier and have it do its tubey goodness and surround knob and then, you know, treble adjustments and slope and balance adjustments. And I would probably get to hear a lot of what this is doing. But there'd be some fuckery in this section. Something. Some underperformance. This doesn't underperform. They have a bigger amplifier than this. They have the one that he brings to audio shows. 4 or 5 rooms at Capital Audio Fest were using his amplifiers. And that big amplifier, the Ultra, isn't 150 watts per channel. It's 500. And guess what? It starts under $3,000 for the stereo version of that. That only comes in stereo versions. This amplifier is dumb. Those amplifiers, the monoblocks, are dumb. And it fully upgraded their extra dumb, Your Honor. This is the much more convenient option for pushing literally anything. I hope he lets this stay here, because as much as I'm probably going to end up leaving the monoblocks there, just be able to pull this little thin box out and plug in my source and plug in my speakers and then power it on. Only then, when you have something plugged into the into the outputs, are you allowed to power it on, or you do bad things. It's one of those I don't have to worry about it products. There's been a couple of those last year. It's a thing you buy, you put it in line, and you're like, all right, I got this now. I don't got to worry about it. It's as clean as it ever needs to be. It's as powerful as it ever needs to be. Amps, forget it. Put the lid in it, shove it under the couch. Now we'll worry about the source with the end. Oh, the tube I'm using. Okay, now the room correction. We got to come out. This removes a worry. And in the world of audiophilia, I see a lot of bald men and women, because all they do is fucking worry. If you think your sound is gonna get better from cable risers, you're too far gone already. But if you're thinking it, buy this instead. This is like pocket change compared to like a fucking set of mahogany cable risers that just came from Africa. It's like, you don't need it. This will do more good for any audiophile setup than anything except for maybe room treatments. So yeah, that's my thing. It's the most basic, simple source, output, power supply, source, output, power supply, or that's it. It's done. It can do no wrong. Me picking attention whore, by the way. Like, that's the thing. I'm afraid if I put this gain up, because I asked him, is there a way for me to overdrive this with an RCA output? And he's like, no. You're gonna get 25% of the power output.
Attention whore. I'm the one that
I've literally I pushed it as hard as I could because I was live streaming earlier, and I heard the drivers giving out. No distortion. Not distorting those. I heard them actually getting to the end of where they were happily traveling. So just fucking fathoming this at full power with the gain thing would just be like, okay, everything's done. We don't need to worry about it. So yeah, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna actually go back to listening to this because it's so much fucking fun. That's another thing. It's fun. If this is business in the front and then party in the back, but you don't get to party without the business in the front. This thing does everything I'd ever want an amplifier to do. In fact, I would straight up trade the monoblocks for this just for the ease of connectivity. Just to plug it in. The only thing I'd miss is that slight bit more headroom for extremely, where are you, RB42s? Fucking where, actually, little side note. When we go there on the 20th, I do have a gift for Leo at Orchard Audio. I'm gifting him a set of RB42s that I just bought. Because you know what? You change my perspective on sound and what's possible. I give you free speakers. It's the least I can do, is open him up and all his friends. Jesus. I don't know what else to say. Home theater people, you're going to want the 3-channel one, because of course you fucking are. What did I ask him? I asked him, could he do a 4-channel? And he said it'd be possible with a different chassis. He just couldn't fit him as neatly in this. Because, again, home theater people will get 1, 2, 3 for the fronts. And then the non-upgraded ones, you could do 1, 2, 3, 4 for the rears. You could have it entirely, or you just get monoblocks. You get fucking 2 sets of monoblocks for $3,000. You get one of these for upgraded for $3,000. That's $6,000 in amplification, and you're fucking, it would be a, what's that, a 7.1? Would kill people. I would love to play music. I can't risk the music. Where is it? Alt-E. By the way, if you ever come to my house and you need to change tracks, it's always an Alt modifier. Alt space to pause. Alt W and E for last and next track. Alt Q and A for volume up and down, and Alt S and D for shuffle and default. White Stripes, no one wants to hear. Beatles, no one wants to hear. The Rush OST, I do want to hear. Can't play any more than that. Yeah, so thank you to Leo for sending this out. I think I have to bring it to him on the 20th so he could demo it in the room. I may see if Black Ice will let me bring this over. Because you know what? The one thing I said to him, if you watch that video of me when I interviewed Leo, I did the Meet Creators on the 2nd channel, Zeo's 2nd channel. I said, you know what this needs? This needs a little bit of a tube. A little bit of tube, because it's so neat and so clean. Yes, that is absolutely something I need personally for my job. But other people who are there just to enjoy it, you get the powering it out of the way, and then you can actually hear your source gear. Oh, another quick thing before I'm done. This setup here with the Supermon minis. Oh fuck, I just crashed into the goddamn subwoofer again, didn't I? This setup here is the only setup, once I put the Starkrimson on it, that I can actually audibly 100% tell DACs apart. I know, I've currently got the SMSL SU10 there, because I think that one sounds the best. It just sounds the best. I can't use the Gishelli Labs socketed because it doesn't have a volume control that I could physically turn up and down. But I did that. I did a couple R2Rs, and I did a JDS Labs. I didn't like the sound of it. I'm like, wow, this DAC sounds dead. So I'm going to be able to assess DACs. And when I do so, that's the amplifier it's going to fucking be on. So Wallpaper in the Horde, Patreon, Subscribe Star, support my mad ravings. I also have now a coffee. You could buy me a cup of coffee, and you know how I am on coffee. So if you'd like to donate to that, Zeos, don't forget to add the coffee links to the description. Coffee! If you're around on the 20th in Rockaway, beautiful Rockaway, New Jersey, please stop by. There'll be cookies. There was cookies last time. It's in a really industrial area. You think you're gonna get mugged by somebody, but it's fine. It's a great place to blast speakers till all hours of the night. Again, links to that in the description. Links to this. I'll link to the clips, because who the I could have picked harder to drive speakers, but honestly, I kind of wanted to hear what these would do if I gave them a little bit of tube love. Everyone's like, tube your clips. Tube your clips. Well, what if I didn't tube my clips and preamp tubed the clips into the cleanest amplifiers possible to get to the loudest sound possible? I'm pretty fucking satisfied. Anyway, like I said, Patreon, subscribe, see reviews early, participate in yard sales 1st to the 10th of every month. Here's sound demos. No sound demos for this setup, I don't think. Although, you know what? Pretty much all speaker sound demos for the last year, they've been on the Starkrimson monos, because there's no other amplifier I want to use. $10 a month gets you behind the scenes private Telegram chat. Ask me questions directly. Get into a lifetime swap meet channel where you can buy, sell, and trade gear. And I've got a couple of things coming up. I've probably been to CES already, if I'm not there currently when this releases. So expect that. I apologize for the delay on the footage from Capital Audio Fest, because it was an audio issue and I had to adjust it. It's all mono. Florida Audio Expo, I might be going to, not verified yet. I will be going to New York City Can Jam, and of course Munich again this year, because Munich was a fucking blast, not only for the audio part, but for the drinking and scooters part. Amazing. Yeah, I'm gonna put the lid back on this, although, you know what? I kind of love looking inside of it. It's just simple. I miss simplicity. It's just fucking amazing how these two little tiny wires here running, these are 110 volts, so don't chew on those, are just delivering this sort of power output. Fucking literally magic. Oh, and thank you, Apos, for sending out the new tube. All right, we're good? Cool. Cool? Cool.